Hello, everyone. Lesson 11 is actually the last lesson of Unit 1, and there are no new lesson notes for this last lesson of Unit 1, so I'm going to go right ahead and get right into the examples for Lesson 11. So let's take a look at this. Matt is standing at the beginning of a sidewalk that is 400 feet long. He walks half the distance of the sidewalk and then stops. He then walks half the remaining distance and stops. He again walks half the remaining distance and stops. He continues this process. Number 1, how many feet has Matt walked after 2 rounds of this process? So the entire sidewalk is 400 feet long, and he starts by walking half the distance. So what's half of 400? Half of 400 is 200. So after the first round, he walks 200 feet. So he walks 200 feet. That means there's 200 feet left. So he then walks half. He walks half the distance. He then walks half the remaining distance and then stops. So there's 200 feet left. He walks half of that distance. So in round 2, he's walked 100 feet. So he walks 200 feet in round 1. In round 2, he walks 100 feet. So how many feet total has Matt walked after 2 rounds of this process? He's walked 300 feet total. Okay. How about after 3 rounds? How about 3 rounds? So he does 200 feet after round 1. He does 100 feet in round 2. So round 3, there's 100 feet left. So he's going to walk half of that. So he's going to walk an additional 50 feet. So he's done 300 feet in the first 2 rounds. And then in the third round, he walks 50 feet. So now he's walked a total of 350 feet of 400. So that's the answer to number 2. How about number 3? If Matt were to continue this process infinitely, would he ever actually reach the end of the sidewalk? Explain why or why not. So in other words, if he continued this process of walking half the remaining distance, then stop. Walk half the remaining distance and stop. Hypothetically, is he ever going to reach the end of the sidewalk? Well, let's think about this here. So he walked 50 feet in round 3. So in round 4, he's going to walk 25 feet. And then in round 5, he's going to walk half of that. So he's always going to have a little bit remaining. Is he ever actually going to reach the end of the sidewalk? In this case, the answer is no. Is he going to get infinitely close to the end of the sidewalk? Yes, he is. But is he ever going to actually reach the end? No. Why is he not going to reach the end? Because he's only going to walk half the remaining distance in each round. So no, because he will only walk half of the remaining distance in each round. So again, he will get infinitely close to the end of that sidewalk, but he's never going to actually reach the end of it for the reasons that I just stated. So that is the end of our examples. That is the end of lesson 11, and that is also the end of the new lessons for Unit 1.